It's Wednesday afternoon, and you know what that means. Ringside Heat is on the air on News Talk Saga 960 AM, your favorite podcatcher, and on YouTube, because guess what? I'm going to try to get this video up on YouTube at 3 o'clock after everything airs on Saga 960 AM. My goodness gracious, what kind of organization do I have to do right now? Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Lex Tan, host and producer of the show. You can follow me at Lex Tan Media, and you can also follow the show at Ringside_Heat if I ever do stop klutzing out on this wire that's around my microphone at the moment. And it is AEW All-In Week starting tonight with AEW Dynamite, tomorrow AEW Collision, ROH on Friday, and the big show, the big Paul White, the big show on AEW All-In Texas on Saturday afternoon, 3 p.m. Eastern time. I believe it's 2 p.m. 3. Is it 3 p.m.? 2 p.m. Eastern time. We'll find that out. We'll have my co-host over here clarify that for you. His name is Colin Dodge. You can follow him at Arisen72, and he also has a Godzilla podcast called KanjiraCast, which you can follow and you can find and download on Apple and Spotify. Colin, it is AEW All-In Week, biggest week of the year for the company.
It's awesome. I'm so excited. And it's in Texas, so it is definitely a large occurrence. There's no doubt about that. And it is 3 p.m. Eastern, so 4 p.m. for little old me. But yes, 3 p.m. Eastern is, I think, the main card. It should be the main card with special start. Yeah, okay. The pre-show starts at 1 Eastern.
Pre-show starts at 1, main card
1 Eastern, yeah.
1 Eastern, and the 3 o'clock is is bell time for the main show, and we will be actually, you and I, hopefully we can have you been able to get in touch with Peter and see if he wants to join us, or is it it like a weird hour for him?
Right now, what would it be for him? Yeah, it would be no good right now. But yeah, I'll have to see. I'll see. It might be too late. Who knows? I mean, it's all in. He might have stuff already going. He might be doing a house party. Who knows? But
that would be cool. That would be cool if he does. You and I at least will be actually on YouTube doing a live reaction of the show 15 minutes before bell time and all throughout. And we will also be recording episode 191 right after we get off the air, after AEW All In gets off the air in Texas. So
that's right, Collision. We're up to 190 already. You got nothing, buddy. Oh yeah.
Look at that flex. So, this past week, AEW 300 and AEW Dynamite 300, the 300th episode, surpassing WCW Monday Nitro by 12 episodes now and counting. And
Nitro, what's Nitro? Too far in the past.
Yeah. For our younger viewers, they were like, they'd be like, "What in the world is that?"
Yeah. And for the even older viewers, they're thinking of an American gladiator named Nitro. But
that's right. Remember
that show? Anyway.
They've got a British version on right now, which is actually pretty good. I have to say, the new Gladiators in Britain, it's actually a really, really good show.
Okay. Yeah. Good for them.
Yeah,
go Brits.
Yep. And as well, AEW Collision 100 aired last week, which is 56 episodes behind WCW Thunder, which they will probably easily overtake in 56 weeks. So congratulations to AEW for all that, and congratulations to AEW for All In Week, which I'm sure that those of you listening who are AEW fans are very excited to encounter, to engage with, and to just have some fun this entire week, like WWE fans have back over in April. But Colin, I'm going to turn this over to you because you are the AEW expert of our show, and you can tell me and you can educate me a little bit more about AEW Collision and AEW Dynamite. I have seen the highlights from it, and there are things that I also want to comment on based on what I do know, but you have the in-depth floor to this point.
Yes. Well, first of all, I must say thank you, Lex, for joining me on our AEW heavy episode. As you notice, there are no other ring crew members here. Cowards. Anyway, so that's right. I told you not to tell them what the episode was about, and then look what happened. Anyway, that's fine. More time for me to explain a better wrestling product. Now, okay, so what happened?
Wow, fighting
I know,
words.
right? I'm going for it. Who's going to stop me? I'm going for it. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? Nothing. AEW Dynamite 300 kicked off with Mercedes Moné defending just the TBS championship, not the other 18 belts, just the TBS championship.
Oh, just the one championship?
Just the one. Yeah, I mean, don't be crazy. And against Mina Shirakawa, and a banger of a match, 14 minutes, 20 seconds. It was fantastic. Toni Storm swearing to Mina that she would not interfere, and Toni Storm, was at ringside, of course, kept her word, did not interfere.
Yes.
Until, of course, Mercedes defended. And of course, did a cheap shot on Mina, which sent Toni Storm into the ring, and then ended up getting a cheap shot on Toni Storm and everything. So, the plan was beautifully executed for Mercedes Moné. Fantastic match. So that was the start. The main event was incredible, especially for people who are unfamiliar with the New Japan product. It was Kazuchika Okada versus Kota Ibushi. Holy crap, because Ibushi is back and he's healthy and he is in AEW. They also had an incredible match. Okada defended, of course, because he's got to keep his belt ready for Kenny. And that was 14 minutes and 47 seconds. So we had a half hour of two incredible matches to start and end the show.
Mm-hmm. And before
worth going back to watch those. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And before you continue on, for those of you who aren't as familiar with New Japan Pro Wrestling, Kota Ibushi it has a Canadian connection as the longtime tag team partner of one Kenny Omega, who I am so happy whenever he's in America and Canada, we're wrestling for AEW. He has Battle Cry as his theme music, probably one of the best pieces of music to ever grace not just AEW stages, but then just professional wrestling genre, because that song's such a banger. Honestly, it really captures who Kenny Omega really is.
If you happen to be sitting in your seat and not paying attention at the time, that snaps you back into the action and as to what's going on. Yeah, it's a great piece of music. So.
And
paying attention, Def Rebel. Anyway, so,
exactly. And Ibushi is, as I said, longtime tag team partner Kenny Omega in New Japan. Their tag team was called the Golden Lovers, and now that they've teamed up with Hangman Page and who else as well?
Well, I mean, Swerve and Ospreay. It's kind of a loose kind of thing. Basically, all right. The quick over top down view of it is Ospreay and is trying to get Swerve to work with him because Hangman has to be protected. They can't let the Death Riders just keep beating the crap out of him all the way. They got to get Hangman to all in as unscathed as possible, because AEW has to come together to finally take down Moxley and the Death Riders. So Ospreay and Swerve are pretty much kind of a tag team right now. So they actually had a match on 300 versus Droistico and the Beast Mordos. So that's just kind of what they've been doing lately. So they're joining forces because Hangman's the guy right now, and they got to keep him safe, get him to all in. Not to interfere in the match, just to keep him healthy to get to the match. And and then of course both of them have respect for Kenny. So if the numbers start going too much the wrong way, the ops jump in as well. So there's it's the beginnings of, it's kind of like an invasion kind of thing where when they rally when they need to against the Death Riders. So, but I'm sorry, better than invasion. Yeah.
Awesome. Sorry for that little diversion over there, Colin, but continue on with the rest of the card.
Yeah, so next up we had not fatal four-way, just a four-way. I forgot which product I'm watching, just a four-way, for the Casino Gauntlet match. So it was MJF versus AR Fox versus Anthony Bowens versus Brody King. And, the inspirational poster of the cat like on the clothesline, had the hang in there.
Okay. Yes.
That
yes.
motivational poster of the kitten just hanging on for dear life.
Yes.
Anyway,
yes. Okay. Yeah. I remember that.
Brody King and MJF recreated that poster quite lovingly as as Brody King grasping MJF by his neck, dangled him over the top rope.
Wow. Jeez.
I think I put it in our chat earlier this week.
Yes. I was wondering about that context.
Yeah,
I'm glad you cleared that up for me.
Yeah, that's the new hang in there motivational poster. It's great. Anyway, MJF did hang in there. He defeated. He won it. So he's in the gauntlet match. The number 1 or number 2 spot, I'm not sure. It's been a week. There was Ozzy's final performance. There was F1 this weekend. I watched a lot of stuff. So yeah.
So I'm looking at the results. MJF did qualify for the number 2 spot.
It was a number 2 spot. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
And speaking of F1, that movie was actually really good.
Yeah, I haven't gotten to see that yet. I am anxious to see that. But the actual British Grand Prix that was this past weekend, they showed a really neat segment of Brad Pitt testing out Lando Norris's car, and Lando Norris going, "Please don't crash it. I need it on Sunday." And he didn't. It was good. It was pretty funny. Yeah.
Makes so much sense when you actually see the movie, but yeah.
So then next up, we had a great tag, triple threat, or 6-person tag, I should say. Konosuke Takeshita and the Young Bucks versus Bandito, who is still the Ring of Honor World Champion, teaming with Kyle O'Reilly and Roderick Strong. They were defeated by Takeshita and the Young Bucks. So that was, a well-done match. They're all incredible. Roderick Strong, man, he is the Dean Malenko of our age. The guy is a machine, and it's fantastic work, but he's so good you overlook it. Like it's that kind of good. Like, of course he does well, but it's easy to overlook it and not pay attention. But yeah, Roderick Strong, man, we got to get some kind of belt on him or something. Give him the TNT Championship or something like that. But yeah, and we had go ahead.
And it seems that like Roderick Strong, he is a good fit for AEW, and as he was a good fit for the TNA style as well. Sure, certain things didn't work in WWE, but that's but maybe that's a fault of WWE rather than Roderick Strong. But it's good to see that he's in a place where he has his strengths heightened and capitalized on. So.
Yeah, I mean, he's still with Adam Cole and Kyle O'Reilly. They're Paragon right now. So, but I mean, they keep saying the undisputed catchphrase, so it's undisputed.
Boom.
Paragon's a weird name, yeah. But anyway, then we had, like I said earlier, Swerve and Ospreay defeated Joistico and the Beast Mortos. That was fun. And then, of course, the main event, Kazuchika Okada versus Kota Ibushi. Fantastic match. And go back and look at it, and then go back and look at the history of Okada and Ibushi together and separately in the New Japan days. So, yeah.
Awesome.
But Dynamite 300, absolutely fantastic. Had a nice kind of pay-per-view excitement and feel. The crowd was there. They were in Ontario, California.
Not Ontario, Canada, unfortunately.
Yeah, not Ontario, Canada. But yeah, they were there. The crowd was having a great time. And now the taping for Collision happened right afterwards. So Collision wasn't live this week. So they just taped that right after it. And not as it didn't have the feel that Dynamite has. Dynamite is clearly the main show, the A show. But Kevin Knight, there was a 3-way match, Kevin Knight versus Nick Wayne and Shelton Benjamin. Kevin Knight actually won. Shelton didn't win, which was shocking. So the Hurt Syndicate is not impressed by that. FTR defeated poor Outrunners, Truth Magnum and Turbo Floyd. I just love saying their names.
Truth Magnum and Turbo Floyd.
Everything I don't miss about the 80s. Yeah, that is the Outrunners.
Wow.
And then for We had another 6-man. It was Hologram and Briscoe and Mystico versus Hechichiro, Rocky Romero, and Trent Beretta, basically the Don Callis family. So the good guys defeated the bad guys there. Mystico was there, so of course MJF had some things to say to Mystico after the match. Then we had a returning Scorpio Sky is back. And apparently there's maybe not a new faction, but Christopher Daniels has taken Scorpio Sky back under his wing, as well as Top Flight. And they came out to wish Scorpio Sky luck, and he defeated Max Caster, the best wrestler alive, in 55 seconds. So, yep. And
interesting how certain gimmicks when you call someone the best wrestler or the best wrestler alive. For whatever I said wrestler. I don't know why I'm saying that, but
he might as well be a wrestler because he hasn't won a match yet since his new gimmick.
It's interesting. It's interesting how that gets booked in WWE with Randy Orton, which I did not like, and how it's being booked with Max Caster, which is I'm still on the fence about, but kind of interesting how it's anachronistic. So.
And then that weird booking where it didn't work with Edge and Orton with the greatest wrestling match ever.
Yes, exactly.
At Mania,
exactly.
that it was weird.
Yeah,
I mean it was a good match, but I
didn't have a problem with the match.
It was just like the Seinfeld final episode. Like it was never going to match what we all had in our head after 9 years of awesome Seinfeld, and then this was the last episode. I mean, it made sense, but. I don't know what we were expecting either. So.
But then it didn't work in WWE because it was the best wrestling or the greatest wrestling match ever. I'm just like, no.
Yeah, like maybe if you were the main event, but they weren't.
like there's two matches in WrestleMania where you could actually consider to be the greatest wrestling matches of all time at a WrestleMania. Macho versus Ricky Steamboat or Shawn versus Taker 1, right? But none of them were marketed as the greatest ever or something like that.
Yeah, it was weird. I don't know. It's like they let Edge have weird ideas. Anyway, we're sidetracking.
Yes, but Max Caster being booked as the quote unquote best wrestler alive. That's just that works so well for whatever reason. I don't know why.
It's so great. Yeah. Then we had Willow Nightingale defeated Vipress, which I believe this was Vipress's debut. So that was a good match. Vipress. Then we had an 8-person tag match, Athena and Julia Hart and Megan Bain and Tekla, so all the bad ones, versus Anna Jay and Queen Aminata and Tay Mello and Thunder Rosa. And so that was a crazy match. Queen Aminata's finisher off with their head is fantastic. So the person's sitting down, they're leaning on the bottom rope, they're facing inside the ring, so they're not on the outside of the ring. And she just basically kind of does a punt, and then to sell it, the person just has to go perfectly as far back as possible, and it looks amazing. Yeah, you get the person selling it correctly, and like from a right angle, she did kick their head off. It's great. So I don't know if this is the first time she did it. I may have missed doing it. She may have in a couple Ring of Honor episodes. I don't know. She looks like she's kind of sticking around the main roster right now. So but that finisher, nasty.
Yeah,
looks great.
And number one, I love the name Off With Her Head because she's a queen, and that harkens back to Alice in Wonderland, etc. Right? Also,
perfect naming. Yeah, character and finisher. Yeah.
And I remember Christian Cage also making the point about selling properly. I can't remember who he took the spear from, but this is back like just as the Ruthless Aggression era was getting started. He took a spear. I don't know if it was from Edge or something like that.
It might have actually been Goldberg too. Yes. Depending on what was with the Ruthless Edge. Yeah, Goldberg might have been there. It was during the time he started calling himself the Peeps Champion, and of course Rock had left at that point. So. Creepy little we're on the radio. I don't know.
CLB. That's right. And him taking a spear from Goldberg and selling it the way he did, it made Goldberg's spear seem even more deadly than it actually already naturally is because of Goldberg.
But you have to watch, because you can't be as good at it as Dolph Ziggler was, because that's how he kind of became a jobber, because he was the best seller.
Yeah, that's true.
Too good at your job and you can't get promoted. You know?
Unless you get that one Money in the Bank thing when you have when you have Big E and AJ by your side. But
name me a bigger pop than that. That was huge.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, honestly, that was Stone Cold Rock level Attitude Era pop.
That was a great moment. That was such a great moment.
Fantastic. Anyway, we're sidetracking again.
one last sidetrack over here.
All right.
When I really should put up a meme of Dolph, AJ, and Big E, and put in this is what I'm going to tell my kids what Final Fantasy VII looked like.
Oh damn, that's good. Yeah, because he was blonde too. So yeah.
Ziggler is
Nikki Cloud.
Yeah, Ziggler's Cloud. Yeah. AJ is Tifa, and Big E is Barrett.
Yeah, that works. Oh, that works. That's good. That's very good. All right. And then the last match on there was Kyle Fletcher and Daniel Garcia. So of course this is still continuing Kyle Fletcher's rise, and so he's actually going to be going after Adam Cole for the TNT champion at All In. I believe that was booked for All In. So yes, it is. Yeah, so that'll be at All In. So yeah,
good. Yeah.
So Daniel Garcia is back to jobber status for the time being. So I mean, he's a good wrestler, but they can't get him over that. At least for me, anyway. I can only speak for myself. Just over that hump of that final gimmick to get him over. The dance can only do so much,
that's yep. So is he one of those guys too good for his job, or is it just his character?
I think it's just not finding that right click in the gimmick of just now it's working. So they tried it before. Is he a wrestler? Is he an entertainer? They tried it with getting back at the Young Bucks and all that kind of stuff, where he kind of tortured a guy. It was when Jack Perry was still there.
Oh, wow.
The whole Jack Perry thing where it kind of got dark and it didn't make sense. How come the cameraman didn't leave when they left? It was weird. There's some logic loopholes on that, but yeah. But yeah, so anyway, so that was that was 300 and 100. So great lead up. So of course we'll see what happens on Dynamite and Collision this week. Collision will be taped again, and it's actually going to air on Thursday, with All In being on Saturday. So
okay, nice.
But as always, Dynamite's always the go home show. So we'll see what happens on Wednesday, and I believe we're going to be throwing up an extra video on YouTube. We'll do a little bit of a review roundup of what happened on Dynamite.
Yes, that's right. So make sure you're paying attention to the Ringside Heat socials and the YouTube page, because we will be posting that instant reaction for right after or sometime after AEW Dynamite does get off the air, and we have some time to collect our thoughts and communicate them to you. And
upload and internet and blah blah blah.
Oh, that's your production stuff.
Yeah. We just got electricity last year, so it's.
And I forgot to mention this before. Before in the in earlier in the block here. Mina Shirakawa versus Mercedes Moné. Again, two women that could absolutely go in the ring and everything. And personally speaking, I'm rooting. I'm always going to be rooting for Mina Shirakawa, no matter how good Mercedes is going to be. I'm always going to be rooting for Mina Shirakawa because that girl, that woman, that woman steals my heart each and every time she makes her way to the ring. And it's not just because she's beautiful. It's not just because she's a sweetheart, but because she can just go, honestly. So.
I mean, yeah, you're not wrong. Especially when Mariah May was still there, and you had her and Mariah and Toni Storm, and just fantastic matches between all of them. They had Mina and Mariah had that little mini feud. That was a fantastic match as well. Mina can pretty much work with anybody. I can't wait for Hikaru Shida to come back and get back in the mix. She's not injured or anything. It's visa renewal stuff that's kept her away, and then I think she had some dates somewhere else. I think back in her home and stuff like that. So
good for her.
But it's as far as I know, she isn't injured or anything like that. It's just visa renewal paperwork stuff to be able to come back and work in the States again. So
that's good. And especially these days, you want to make sure that your visas and your paperwork is all up to date and everything. So
and that's as close as we're going to get to that topic.
Exactly. Ringside Heat on News Talk Saga 960 AM. We're going to take a little break here, but we're going to start teeing up AEW All In Texas, which is going to be happening this coming Saturday, bell time 3 p.m. And we'll have this here for you right after the break. We'll be back after these promotional considerations.
Under all the lights, with only everyone, he's looking for one single face.
And welcome back to Ringside Heat on News Talk Saga 960 AM, Lextan at Lextan Media, Ringside Heat at Ringside_Heat is where you can follow us. And of course, with Colin, you can follow him at Risen72 on his socials. That's where you can reach out to him, personally speaking. But then he's also got his Kanjira Cast podcast regarding Godzilla movies. And you can follow that app on Spotify and at Kanjira, Canjira Cast, all one word and everything. So, Colin, big show this coming Saturday, AEW All In Texas. At first I thought it was. I thought one particular pay-per-view was going to be their WrestleMania, but this has become basically AEW's WrestleMania, thanks to the great showings that they did have when they were in Britain, and also the big things that happened in Britain, which are which did leave some question marks on top of heads, kind of like Solid Snake. But hey, you know what? Texas is going to get a big show, and hopefully. And speaking of Texas as well, we just want to give our thoughts and prayers and our support to the people that have been affected by these horrible floods that have been happening over in Texas. And we just hope that everybody who is affected by these floods recovers to the best of whatever happens over there. And for those of you who want that getaway and want that getaway and want that separation, I guess, just for a little bit from the horrible things that are happening in Texas with the floods, we hope that our content as well as AEW's content will help provide that escape.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. For any, heart goes out to you, of course. Any kind of just natural disaster, things like this, it's just, band together as best you can. And, just do your best to get through it, and seek out the help that you can as well. So.
Mm-hmm. And so, let's go and start running down this card as it's been announced so far. And I do have some thoughts I'd like to process with you regarding some of the main stuff the main stories that are happening here at AEW All In.
Yeah. Right off, you know what? Let's go positive right off. There's only one negative, I think, so far anyway. But
right.
Match I cannot wait for is, of course, Timeless Toni Storm versus Mercedes Moné.
For damn sure.
AEW's Women's World Championship match. Could very easily be match of the night. Sorry, Okada and Omega. It could be. I mean, that's just how good Tony is. It's how good Mercedes is. Mm-hmm. Chris Statlander, I just want to mention this. Chris Statlander recently won a world title, Eve Evolution or something like that. I wrote it down and that piece of paper is gone. But anyway, she just became a champion. Mm-hmm. And so there was the tweet put out and, a picture of her holding the belt. Mercedes' response on point was just the 2 eyeballs emoji. And Chris Statlander responded, stay away from me because we know Mercedes is a belt collector and I love that. So she just responded with those two little eyes looking, and Statlander replies, stay away from me. I love it.
And she won according to Will Ospreay, because Will Ospreay did tweet this out, and Chris Stat is the Eve International Champion.
Thank you. Yes.
And it's
congrats
about
to
damn
Statlander. She should have belts again, so I'm glad she went and got one.
Yeah, about damn time. I mean, like, I know that injuries have been a little bit of a problem for her over the past few years, but man, like, her stuff on the indies, particularly in Beyond Wrestling, I've been so I've been so impressed by everything, by a lot of the things that she does, and once she gets into the mix here and AEW against Mercedes, against Toni Storm, as long as Mercedes doesn't take that championship away from her too. So well, I'm looking forward to it.
She is back full time now. She is having a little B story. She tried to be friends again with Willow Nightingale, and Willow Nightingale is just like, yeah, it's not going to happen. So Statlander is kind of getting roped in with the Death Riders. What's his face? The unattended Chia Pet, Wheeler Yuta.
Yes.
Yeah, he's kind of reached out to Statlander, and even John Moxley gave her his little cult leader speech a little bit. And so it looks like she might be going Death Rider soon. So that's just a little B story in the background happening. So there's B stories that happen every now and again. It's nice too. But anyway, yeah. So Timeless and Mercedes, gonna watch that. Absolutely excited for that. Okada and Omega, for the unification of those two belts, of the Continental and the International.
What are they going to call that belt?
They're calling it the Unified Championship. So,
okay.
Not the worst name, but it's just very practical and logical. This is what this is.
And they can't call it Intercontinental because, they're not
going to call it that. They're not going to call it the Undisputed Not World Championship. So, it's, So, Unified, sure, why not? But that's going to be amazing. The gauntlet matches for the men's and women's for a future world title shot, those are going to be fantastic as well. And then, of course, we have Swerve Strickland and Will Ospreay versus the Young Bucks, where the stipulations are, if the Young Bucks lose, they will be stripped of their EVP titles and responsibilities. But
interesting.
If Ospreay and Strickland lose, they cannot challenge for the world championship for 1 year.
Now, those are good stakes. Those are big stakes right there.
Those are big stakes.
I am very, very much in support of that particular storyline and stipulations because, I mean, Matthew and Nicholas Jackson. A lot. One of the things that, of course, that makes wrestling work so well is when you blur the lines between your shoot and your kayfabe, right? And a lot of the times as well, like, there is a little bit of a blur between what Matt and Nick do in the ring as the EVPs, and of course they are EVPs in real life too, thanks to good old Tony Khan. And
you always have to have your authority figure of some kind to hate, right? So that's what Young Bucks are doing right now.
Yeah, and they're doing it a lot more effective than Tony Khan ever did. So,
well, Tony Khan's not a performer in that way, and so hey, I love him for trying it. Why not? It's his show. Give it a shot.
Right.
We found out he couldn't do it. It took him a little while longer, I think, to realize he couldn't do it, and then now he's not doing it anymore. So he learned. It's fine.
No, I'm glad, and that's a good thing because that means it gives the Bucks something a little bit more meat to the bone, basically.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, let them have it because then they can back it up in the ring when they need to. Or not back it up, as we'll see. And then, of course, I mentioned.
Before that, and the Swerve and Will Ospreay, two the big rising stars in this generation of pro wrestlers. The fact that if they can't if by kayfabe of obviously they're not allowed to challenge for the AEW World Championship for a full calendar year. That's I would be interested to see how they would have to deal with that if they lose.
Well, if we're gonna, let's do a little prediction right now. Then I think the Young Bucks win.
Oh,
and Swerve and Ospreay will eventually challenge the Hurt Syndicate for the tag titles.
Okay. I can see that.
What tag team is good enough to take on Bobby Lashley and Shelton Benjamin? I mean, you might as well be Kane and Taker. They're a super team. Right? So who's good enough? You need a former world champion, Swerve Strickland, and former amazing Meltzer's favorite 5-star guy. You need another Mega Powers.
yeah, it's true.
And that could be Swerve and Ospreay right now. But now if they do the handshake, that would be perfect. But anyway. The power handshake.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Ooh, yeah.
So I could see that happening. And then, of course, I think at some breakout as well, I still believe, and it might have already been leaked, I still believe the women's world or the women's tag championship is going to be around the corner. There's probably going to be a tournament for that because right now, every woman wrestler right now seems to have a little buddy that could be a tag team with them. So, except Mercedes.
Well, I mean,
which is why I think Mercedes might win because she needs at least somebody to carry all the belts for her because she's running out of space.
Well, I mean, like 8 belts. I mean, like that. When 7 belts. Okay, so when you have 7,
no, she has 6 right now. Sorry, 6.
Oh, jeez. Wow. Yeah. I mean, like, hey, you know what? Like, when you have 6 belts, when you have all that gold, I mean, like, that it can weigh you down, but oddly enough, it weighs you down while bringing your profile up. So.
Right. So yeah, I think the last thing I saw is where the TBS championship is actually around her waist, and then the 2 other belts are hanging off of that, and then she's holding the other 3.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Be a Moss. You got some work to do.
That's right. But I mean, she's like a small frame woman too, right? So like it's, as tough as nails she is, she's not like bodybuilder built up like Megan Bain, for example, or something like that. So
oh yeah, exactly.
Yeah, like she's
not a glamazon.
For us gamers out there, easily over encumbered by all these belts, I would say. So, if you know what that's like. But yeah, anyway. And then, of course, like I said before, there's Adam Cole and Kyle Fletcher for the TNT Championship. Probably going to be a really good match. But up against everything else, I'm just not incredibly interested in Kyle Fletcher or Adam Cole right now. So what do I have him at? Adam number 3? Is he number 3 or 4?
Well, Paige
it switches between 3 and 4, and Adam Braun Strowman,
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
Edge is first always. Edge is always first. Hangman's actually creeped up to second because he crept up there. He's never going to beat a Canadian, but he crept up there. So, yeah.
Yep. Somehow, I mean, it still actually kind of blows my mind to see that Adam Page has actually risen up the ranks in at least Adam status, but that's something that we'll get into a little bit later. But we've got
just one match left, actually. So far, that's booked. Only 8 matches booked right now. So,
wow.
Yeah, I mean, there should at least be 24. I mean, it's all in for crying out loud, but but it's not saying any of these are in the pre-show or anything like that yet. So, but the last one I actually am interested in because it's a 3-way for the tag team championships. So this is a chance for the Hurt Syndicate to lose because they don't have to be pinned in a 3-way. Don't forget.
That's right. Yes.
So they're defending against Jet Speed, which is Kevin Knight and Speedball Mike Bailey, and the Patriarchy, Christian Cage and Nick Wayne. So the return of Edge and the reunion of Edge and Christian is on hold right now, according to places on the internet. And it's because Christian wants to finish this thing with Nick Wayne. So I'm thinking they might actually win this. Or if they don't win, will get them right into Christian versus Nick Wayne.
Yeah.
And then finally put Nick over. Christian goes away for a while. And then ENC come back, or AC and CC. ACCC. They need to call themselves ACCC. That's look. If you got Jet Speed, they're calling themselves Jet Speed. You can have ACCC. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Not the worst. Not the worst name out there.
It's not the worst. It's not any worse than Unified Championship. So
or Bang Bang Gang or whatever the heck that is. So.
Well, that's, I mean, depending where you are on the internet, that's very different things. So
Exactly. We're
We have to
talking
cut to a
about
commercial
professional
now. I don't
wrestling
know
here,
what's
people.
This might be our last podcast or broadcast. Or
Oh boy. But you know what though, and that's the thing. It's like, you know, for me, it's for those guys, it's gonna have to be either the Hurt Syndicate or the Patriarchy. Because don't get me wrong, I love Speedball Mike Bailey and everything that he can do. As you said a couple of weeks ago,
so awesome.
He's a Street Fighter character come to life, and thank God he can actually cross the border now. So
like the off-brand games, like from Streets of Rage or something. He's fantastic.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I still think that both Kevin Knight and Mike Bailey still needed to raise their profiles a little bit more, and maybe this will help them. But
this should do it. But no, they're not going to get it. All likelihood, Syndicate retains unless they're really getting to Christian versus Nick. Maybe have them as champs for a little bit, and then they turn on each other. So.
And I'm assuming that the John Moxley versus Hangman Adam Page is going to be your big main event for the entire evening.
It'll be the big main event. It was one of my top until it became a Texas death match.
Oh, okay. That's something new that I did not anticipate, honestly, either. So, So personally, for me, when I heard about that, like, okay, you know what? I guess they're looking for them to end this on a big on a high note, an exclamation point. And what better way to do it? I guess to have the Cowboy do the in a Texas death match, and it makes sense.
No less.
Exactly. And so, and so you get shades of that Stone Cold Steve Austin versus The Rock in WrestleMania 17 in Houston. Him coming out on top by teaming up with McMahon to screw The Rock over. However, what is your hang up about it?
Well, so the pay-per-views of 2024 and 2025 have been amazing. The one problem I had with one match in 2024, it was Swerve versus Hangman, and it became a blood drinking match and ridiculous spots with a cinder block. Like, it was going too far. It didn't favor the story of how much they hate each other or trying to destroy each other. Now Mox has really not bled at all this year. They've really toned that kind of back. So when I think they're starting to realize, don't do that in every match. If it's going to happen, make it special, right? Make it mean something. So
yes.
I'm hoping it's going to mean something and not just be a gore fest. Where now, even the Anarchy in the Arena matches, only this year's is the first one I liked.
Oh. That's right. I remember you mentioned that a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, only that I found this fun, and even though it was all over the place, it's so hard to get camera on all these things. You know, it's just an insane thing to try to cover properly. But it was fun. They were actually able to keep that fun. So, like I say, it was the first one I enjoyed. So I'm giving the benefit of the doubt, but I'm worried that it'll just be gore for the sake of gore, and then the story which has become, the Death Rider story. I know is falling flat for a lot of people right now, but they're not doing anything different. It just hasn't changed. That's the problem. It hasn't changed.
Okay.
But it's still as good as it was. It's just, it's also been a year or more. And so, we haven't seen the belt in like a year. It feels like a year. So, they're not moving forward with it. It's just, it's stagnant is what it is. Right. But I still like the story. And again, they're doing a B story where they're roping in Statlander. So the faction's not going away anywhere. Mox might be out for a bit if he loses, but the Death Riders are still going to be around, obviously, if they're kind of starting to recruit Statlander a little bit, right? So they're not getting rid of the faction. So anyway, that's where I'm just worried it becomes gore for the sake of gore. Otherwise, this would have been right up there with Tony Storm and Mercedes for me. So this is the only one I'm worried about, where I'm like, I could see this ruining the pay-per-view like Swerve and Hangman did. It really bummed me out at the end of the night because it was the main event. That was the final bad taste in my mouth at the end of the night. So I'm worried that this might do that, but I'm hoping not. I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt because they have held back on Moxley being a stuffed pig, bleeding like a stuffed pig for any match just because.
Yes,
So,
exactly. Yeah. But and here's the thing too, is that like, yes, if it is gore, if it does, as you said, gore for the sake of gore, yeah, then that would turn me off as well, especially because what I saw from AEW Dynamite and the interaction with Hangman Page, and of course, you know, it is a very controversial thing, especially these days. I mean, back 20 some odd years ago, when you know when you had The Rock bottoming Stephanie McMahon to give Lita the victory, of course, that was also, you know, that was also really towing the line over there, right? When it came, but it's even more today. And with Adam Page, I've been wanting to see. And you've heard me talk about this before. Like, you know, I've been hoping and praying, I guess, in a sense, that Adam Page would have some sort of, you know, personality, as opposed to, you know, getting people to say cowboy bleep, basically, right? That because that was basically, to me, as a casual AEW follower, that's all I got from Adam Page, is just that, you know, he's just just this good cowboy, and then, like, you know, cowboy bleep and whatever like that, right?
Yeah, I mean, one of the biggest things that turned me around was was Grand Slam Mexico, where he opened the show with his monologue, and he's did it all in Spanish.
That's cool.
Right?
Yeah.
Like he knows how to speak Spanish. So it's not like he was there struggling or anything like that. So he knows how to speak Spanish, but he still delivered the emotion of the point it was getting across. And so if he's doing that in not his first language, I thought, okay, this is a storyline he's getting into. Like, you know, when you're finally clicking, like Mercedes is finally clicking with this CEO nonsense. And so it's finally clicking. And so, okay, now I'm dialed in, because his matches are always good. As long as he's not drinking blood.
Agreed. Agreed.
You know. So that was the start of it going, okay, this is something, which is why I'm giving it the benefit of the doubt, because this story also has threads into Young Bucks and into Chris Statlander now. And into the Ops. And so there's many tendrils coming from this central of Hangman and Page, and of course Ospreay and Swerve are in there too. So I'm giving it the benefit of the doubt that they're not going to ruin it with just a typical gore fest like they have as recently as last year, you know.
Right, exactly. And thank goodness, because, you know, Adam Page actually looks to me now, again, as a casual AEW follower, he actually does have you know, a character, a grit, a reason why he's in the ring, and a reason why he's doing what he's doing, as opposed to, you know, 24 hours before you defend the title, I'm protecting AEW from you, CM Punk.
I mean, obviously, all the ideas they had from that, they're putting into this properly.
Yes, exactly.
And
God.
It's working, you know, because you know what? Mox is an actual threat to AEW, storyline wise, of course. Is an actual threat to AEW. Him and the Death Riders. They're ruining things. They're making us uncomfortable. They're hiding the championship. We don't like it. It's great, but uncomfortable because it's a good story being done here. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. And the fact that, like, that Adam Page, you know, wants to make a point to John Moxley that he will do everything that he can do to take that title away from Moxley's hands, by buckshot lariating Marina Shafir. Again, that's like, you know, that's it. That was not done just for the sake of, like, you know, male to female, you know, violence, whatever like that, right? It wasn't done for that. It was done to make a point in the story, to make to show that Adam Page is way more than just ticked off at John Moxley.
Yeah, because all Mox promos is going on, Hangman, you don't have it. You can't get to that next level. AEW can't get their act together. This is why I'm always right. Why I keep winning and stuff. So the only swerve is going to be, I can't see that All In won't have Darby Allin returning in some capacity.
Right.
And if they're not making Hangman the savior of AEW, then it's going to be Darby.
Which would be an interesting thing. That again, that the uncertainty of Hangman Page versus Darby to be the savior of AEW makes things a little bit more, I guess, compelling in that sort of sense. And that's something that you want in a wrestling company. That's something you want when you have long-term booking like this. And I'm glad that they're actually starting to figure it out when it comes to Adam Page and as well for the rest of the card. So that's something I'm looking forward to, and I'm sure that you are as well, Colin.
Right.
But we're running out of time over here on the air here in Saga 960 AM. So we got to end it off over here. Thank you, Colin, for running down AEW over the past week here.
Love it. Happy to do it.
Exactly. And thank you as well for everybody listening on the radio, on Spotify, and on YouTube for tuning in and listening to us here. Remember, we will be doing an instant review after AEW Dynamite, and we'll be doing a full reaction stream starting at just before 3 p.m. on Saturday afternoon, and then recording next week's main show with our AEW All-In review right after AEW All-In goes off the air on Saturday night. So thank God we don't have to
be around for a live recording. Watch how we do it live and see how many edits we actually do, because then we start swearing and start going on topics we shouldn't mention, and then why are we still on the air and all. Yeah, it's great. And then then you'll have the nice clean version the following week. Yeah.
Exactly, and you don't have to be up with us until 2:00 in the morning. So that's great.
That's the most exciting. See, we're middle-aged folks, and an afternoon pay-per-view sounds amazing. Yeah.
Follow Colin at Risen72 and at KenJuracast. Follow me at LexTan Media. Follow the show at Ringside_Heat. Ringside Heat. We remember the things that you probably forgot.